Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Airbrushing for the Beginner. This is going to be a complete beginner's class. These are going to be 3 videos on these little classes for the total beginner. The brand of brush that I'm going to be using is the Iwata, and it is the Iwata Eclipse. It's the HP SBS 0.35mm needle and nozzle setup, and this is the side cut version. You can get this Eclipse in different versions. I will run through them now. You can get the HP BCS, which is this one here. This is a 0.5mm needle and nozzle setup, and this one is the jar fed one that goes to the bottom of the brush like that. So you can get that version. You also can get the HP BS, which is the same body as this, but you've got a little cup to the top. And you can get the HP CS, which is the same again, but it's got a bigger cup to the top. Both the BS and the CS come in the 0.35 needle and nozzle setups, which is the same as this one. The only different one is the bottom feed, which is a 0.5. So looking at the brush, if you've got this brush or you've got the BS or the CS, I would recommend the first thing you do if you've got these brushes, before you chuck any paint down its neck, is learn how to strip the brush down for maintenance. So you've got your brand new brush out of the box, and let's give it a strip down, guys, and just learn how to work the brush, see how everything pulls apart, put it back together before you start painting on your easel. So we're going to strip this one down. If you've got the other 2 brushes or the bottom feed, you don't need to see this bit I'm doing at the start. To get the cup off, take that out, nice and simple, and take your pin out. So now you can follow me on. If you've got the BS or the CS or the BCS, you'd be looking at this, but the other 2 you'd have a cup on the top, or you've got your bottom feed piece here on the other one. So to now strip the brush down, the way I'd go about this for maintenance is take the back of the brush off like that, nice and simple, and that leaves your needle exposed, the back end of your needle. You've got a little chuck here, undo that chuck there, not all the way. You can take that all the way off, as I'll show you now. You can take that off, but there's no need to take that all the way off. Just undo it, and then that needle will slide out the back. So that's your needle, put that to one side. Now move to the front end of your brush. So you are now looking at that, and all these 4 brushes will look the same to the front end like that. You've got the crown cap to the top, that just unscrews. So that takes the crown cap off, put that to one side, and then you can move down to the next part of the body, which is that piece there. So we're now looking at this piece. That piece there can unscrew, take that piece out, and now you're left with that part, which is that little piece there that you can see. That's the actual nozzle inside that cap. And then you can move down to the next part of the body, and this part of the body has got like a spanner, as you can see there. That's got a little spanner piece that goes round the body there. Get your spanner that comes in the box and just undo that like so. Unscrew that off the brush, and that will leave that little brass piece there. That just lifts off, and that's your nozzle out of the airbrush. So that's the body stripped down. You can take these down and strip these further. You can take the back piece out there, that piece comes off there, and if you really wanted to get it a complete strip down, you can unscrew the air mechanism part, the valve there, and that can come out. But that's as far as I'd go on a clean down when you're airbrushing. That's as far as you need to go, guys, unless you've got paint that's spilt and gone all inside here, then you need a deeper clean. But we'll just go from here today, nice and simple. So that would be a basic strip down of your brush. Now, your first cleaning on the brush, get yourself some airbrush cleaner. I've got gun wash here, which you'd use in big spray guns. It's absolutely fine. And a little stainless steel jar masking taped to a coaster, so it's just nice and simple. That just stops it toppling over. And I've got a little bit of gun wash in there. Now if you've got this side feed brush, you can soak this, you can take the bottom off that and you can soak that in cleaner. So that's if you've got the side cut one. If you've got the BS or the CS or the BCS, you'd be looking at the front end of the brush. So you've got your crown cap, you can soak that in cleaner. The next part of that body that I took off, you can soak that in cleaner. Then you've got the piece that's got the spanner that we unscrewed. That can be soaked in cleaner. Your needle, get a little bit of cleaner on a cotton paper towel, or you can get the little cotton pads. They're handy. Just pinch your needle, slide it through, nice and simple, like that. Don't stab yourself in the process. Clean your needle, that's done. If you've got the side cup again, it's got, now you can see you've got the hole looking all the way through the brush, and you've got the front of the brush there with the hole in. You can get the little pipe cleaner and you can clean through the brush there, and you can clean the front end of the brush there. If you've got the other two brushes, you're basically looking at the cup here. You can clean again in here, not a problem, and clean inside the cup. And if you've got the BCS, you can clean in that side, tip your brush up, and you can clean down through there and flush through there out the front of the brush. So that's how you clean that one, not a problem. So you've cleaned all your brush down. Give the body a wipe. If you've got any paint on the body, little bit of cleaner, and then just give that a wipe over. Clean all the body down. Now to put the brush back together on all these brushes, nice and simple. Get your nozzle, that would sit on the top like that, and that just locates and sits nice and simple like that. Get the next piece that's got the spanner head on it, place that over the top, and just screw that back on. And when you screw that back on and go to tighten it up, get your spanner and just nip nice and lightly, nip that tight. You've not got to over tighten that. So you've got that piece on, then get the next piece that we took off, put that back on, which sits over that nozzle like that. Then get your crown cap, drop that on the top like that, screw that on, and that's the front end of the brush. On all these four brushes, that's how you assemble the front end, nice and simple. Now go and get your needle. Now what I would recommend on the needle, you get the Iwata Super Lube. Drop a little bit of Super Lube on the needle like that, so you can see that on the needle, that little bit there. Pinch the needle and just slide your fingers with the Super Lube on down to the back of the needle, and that will just lubricate that needle up nice and easy. You don't need a lot. Get your body of your brush and then just guide that needle in there like that, slide it in, and then just very lightly slide that needle forward, and you'll feel it stop. And now that needle is stopping to the front end of that nozzle. So you slide that in like that, put your finger on the back like that, lean across with a little bit of tension on that needle, and just tighten that chuck back up, and that's your needle now in place and located to the front of the brush. So that's your needle in. Get the back part of the body, slide that over, tighten that back up, and that would be your BS or the CS or the BCS put back together. On this one we've got the side cup. Now you can choose what side you want to put your cup in. You can have either that side or that side, whether you're left or right handed. That just slides in. Get your little blanking push in plate and just push that into the opposite side, and your brush is good to go. So that's what I mean by the Iwata Eclipse. Are nice and simple, guys. that's a little mini maintenance check which I would recommend you doing when you get your first airbrush. Before you chuck any paint down its neck, learn how to strip it down and give it a maintenance check, and then it'll give you that little bit of confidence. If you get any issues when you're painting, you know exactly how to strip it down and which pieces you can soak and leave in cleaner and which pieces that you can't. So that's the little breakdown of the brush. Now I'll move on to hooking it up to an airline. Now if you get an Iwata and you get the hose with it, that's a bonus. If you don't and you've just got the brush with the thread on like that, I would highly recommend going for the Iwata braided hose. As you can see, this one here, the reason why I recommend the Iwata braided hose is that's 10 years old. This has been my studio hose for 10 years. So it's been draped across the floor and it's lasted. It's been an absolute blinding hose, guys. There's no splits in it, it's not leaking, it works. So that's why I'd recommend them. So the hose that you get, if you get the Iwata one, you will get the piece that connects to your airbrush, and then you get the one that's got the spanner head on it there. That would go to all your Iwata compressors, your Smart Jets, your Studio Series, all that. You would link that side to them, and then this side you would screw straight to your brush like that, and you're good to go. Now what I would recommend you getting is a quick connect. And what a quick connect is you will get a piece that goes to the bottom of the brush, which looks like that. You screw that piece to the bottom of the brush, and then you get the opposite side. So you get the male and female, you get this side, and this one's got an air regulator on it. I'll leave all the links in the description to a company that do the full Iwata range, the hoses, these quick connects, and all your fittings you can get from this site, guys. So you'd screw that piece to the hose like that, and then what makes this nice and easy is you can clip your airbrush in like that and you're good to go. And to release it, you just pull back and it's job done, guys. It's nice and simple. It saves you screwing and unscrewing your airline to your airbrush every time you want to come and clean. This way is a lot easier. It's like your big spray guns with your airlines that clip on, but just made a lot smaller for an airbrush. So that's what I recommend for your airline linking up. I've got another Iwata hose here, so I'm going to do the same again. I'm just going to link that quick connect to that, drop that in like that, and now we've got some air coming through on the brush. Now I would run these brushes, 25 psi is a good ballpark to start from if you're a beginner. It's a good air pressure for getting your paint out, and then if you've got this one that's got the regulator, you can then stop your air pressure and then you can dial your air pressure in there. So a good benchmark for airbrushing is 25 psi, and then you can come down on that psi to whatever paint thickness consistency you've got. So that's the end of the video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this first episode on airbrushing for beginners. We've got up to the stage where we are hooking the brush up. I hope you can join me in the next one, and then I'll take you through some paint. I'll take you through some airbrush paint, some cheap craft paint, and just show you how you can mix these paint consistencies down to get them to run through your brush. You've not got to have an airbrush paint if you're working on canvases or paper or practicing. You can get a budget paint, we can thin it down, and I can show you how you can paint. So hope you can join me in the next one. Don't forget, if you're new to my channel, click that subscribe, press that notification so you don't miss out on any more up and coming videos on Dred FX Custom Paint. Like, share, it's all helping the channel, guys. We're nearly at that 1,000 sub mark, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.